Taman Park stood at the window of the starship Harmony and watched the stars move past. He had never seen anything like it. The ship was bigger than 3 city blocks put together, and it was home to over 200 beings from 12 different worlds. "Still can't believe you're here?" asked Janae, walking up beside him. She was also from Earth, from Busan. Her job was to help everyone talk to each other on the ship. 3 months ago, I was teaching alien languages at Seoul University, Taman said. Now I'm flying through space with actual aliens. It feels like a dream. A good dream or a bad dream? Taman smiled. The best dream ever. The Harmony was humanity's first try at working with aliens. For 50 years, Earth had known that other smart life existed in the galaxy, but they had never worked together like this before. The ship was like a floating school where everyone could learn about each other. Taman's job was to help translate languages. He had always been good with words and sounds. Even as a child, he could copy the way people talked after hearing them just once. His grandmother used to say he had magic ears. "Come on," Janae said. "Time for the morning meeting. Captain Sung-woo wants everyone there." They walked through the ship's wide hallways. The walls were painted in soft colors that were supposed to be calming for all the different species. Taman still got lost sometimes. The ship was huge, and every section looked a little different. The meeting room was already full when they arrived. Taman saw beings he was still getting used to. There were the Korath, who looked like walking trees with silver bark. There were the Yaksik, small blue creatures with big eyes who always seemed to be smiling. And there were others he was still learning about, but his eyes always went to the Velter. There were 3 of them on the ship. They were tall, much taller than humans. Their skin looked like it was made of liquid metal that changed colors. They had 4 arms instead of 2, and their faces were long and graceful. Taman thought they looked like the elves from old stories, but more alien and beautiful. One of the Valtor was named Kira. She worked in the same department as Taman. For the past 2 weeks, they had been working together on translation projects. Kira was smart and funny, but she also seemed to enjoy teasing the humans about their customs. Captain Sung-woo called for attention. He was a short, serious man who had been in space for 20 years. "Good morning, everyone. Today we start the new cultural exchange program. Each species will teach the others about their traditions and ways of life." Taman felt excited. This was why he had come to space. He wanted to learn everything about how other beings lived and thought. "The Korath will teach us about their music," the captain continued. "The Yaksik will show us their art. The Valtor will share their naming traditions." Kira's skin turned a soft gold color. Taman had learned that meant she was happy or amused. After the meeting, Taman walked with Kira to their work area. It was a small room with 2 desks and a big screen for showing alien texts. "So you will teach us about names?" Taman asked. "Oh, human names are so simple," Kira said. Her voice was musical, like she was always about to sing. "You just pick a sound when you are born and keep it forever." "So boring." "What do you mean boring?" Taman asked. "My name means great people in Korean. It has meaning." Kira laughed. When she did, her skin turned bright silver. "One meaning. Just one. How sad. How many meanings do your names have?" "My names change every day," she said. "They tell the story of who I am, where I come from, what I have done, how I feel, who I love, what season it is, what I dream about. They are like a song that never stops growing." Taman stared at her. "That sounds incredibly complicated." "It is beautiful," Kira said. "Your human names are like having just one note to play your whole life. Our names are like having a whole orchestra." They sat down at their desks. Today, they were supposed to work on translating safety instructions into different languages, but Taman found it hard to focus. He kept thinking about what Kira had said about names. "Can you tell me your real name?" he asked. Kira's skin turned dark purple. Taman had learned that meant surprise or shock. "You do not ask a Velter their true name," she said. "That is very personal. It would be like asking to see someone with no clothes on." "Sorry," Taman said quickly. "I didn't know. It is okay. You are still learning." Her skin went back to its normal pale green color. "But even if I wanted to tell you, you could not understand it. It is too complex for human minds." Something in the way she said it made Taman feel annoyed. "Human minds understand plenty of complex things." "Not like this," Kira said. "My shortest name has 47 parts. Each part connects to hundreds of other meanings. Some parts change based on who is saying the name. Some parts can only be said at certain times of day. Some parts are not even words. They are colors or feelings or memories." "That does sound complicated," Taman admitted. "Beyond complicated," Kira said. "It took me 30 years to fully understand my own name, and I was born with it." They worked in quiet for a while. Taman translated emergency procedures into Korean while Kira worked on the same text in her language. But his mind kept wandering back to the idea of names that changed and grew. At lunch, they sat together in the cafeteria. The food was a mix of dishes from all the different worlds. Taman had gotten used to eating strange things, but he still missed his grandmother's cooking. "Tell me about your grandmother," Kira said suddenly. "Why do you ask? You think about her when you eat. Your face changes." Taman was surprised that she had noticed. "Her name was Haijin. She raised me after my parents died. She used to tell me stories about aliens before we knew aliens were real." "What kind of stories?" "She called them star people. She said they would come to Earth someday and teach us wonderful things. She said they would have names like music and skin like starlight." Kira's skin turned the gold color again. "She sounds wise." "She died 2 years ago. But I think she would have loved to meet you." "Why?" "Because you are exactly like the star people in her stories." Kira was quiet for a moment. Her skin cycled through several colors: gold, silver, soft blue, then back to green. "Your grandmother sounds like she understood more than most humans," she said finally. "She always said I had a gift for languages because I needed to be ready to talk to the star people when they came. And now you are." "Now I am," Taman agreed. As they finished eating, Taman realized something. For the first time since coming to space, he felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. His grandmother's stories had led him here too. This ship, to this moment, to this strange and wonderful conversation with a being whose name was like a song. He had no idea that this feeling was about to change his life in ways he could never imagine. 3 weeks had passed since Taman first talked with Kira about names. Their work together had become easy and fun. Every morning, they met in their small office to translate documents. Every afternoon, they walked through the ship's garden section, talking about their different worlds. Tae-Min learned that Kira came from a planet with 3 suns. She told him about forests made of crystal and oceans that sang in the wind. In return, he told her about Earth's rain, about snow, about his grandmother's small garden where she grew tomatoes and peppers. "Your world sounds very wet," Kira said. One day, as they sat by the artificial pond in the garden, "Is that bad?" "Not bad. Just different. On my world, water is precious. We have ceremonies for rain." "We complain about rain on Earth," Taman laughed. "Humans complain about many things," Kira said. Her skin turned the light gold color that meant she was teasing. "You complain about being hot. You complain about being cold. You complain when there is too much food. You complain when there is not enough. Do Valter not complain? We sing our troubles instead of speaking them. It makes them smaller." Taman liked these conversations. Kira was different from anyone he had ever met. She was serious about important things, but she also loved to laugh. Her skin changed colors when she felt strong emotions, which made it easy to know what she was thinking. Other crew members had started to notice how much time they spent together. "You and the Valtaire girl seem close," said Bjorn, the human engineer, one evening in the cafeteria. "Her name is Kira," Taemin said, "and we work together." "Of course we are close. Janae thinks you like her," Bjorn continued with a grin. "I like everyone on this ship. Not the same way you like her." Taemin felt his face get hot. "We are friends. That is all." But Borum was right. Taemin did feel something special for Kira. He looked forward to seeing her every morning. He felt happy when she laughed at his jokes. When her skin turned gold around him, his heart beat faster. The problem was that she was not human. He did not know if aliens could have the same kinds of feelings that humans had. He did not know if it was even possible for them to be more than friends. One evening, the crew gathered in the observation lounge for their weekly social time. It was a big room with huge windows that showed the stars outside. Different species sat together in small groups, sharing stories and playing games. Tae-Min sat with the other humans and a few friendly Sikh. They were playing a word game where everyone had to think of words in different languages that sounded the same but meant different things. In Korean, Bam means night, Taemin said. In English, bomb sounds similar but means something that explodes. In Yaksik, bomb means beautiful flower, added one of the small blue aliens. Everyone laughed at the differences. That was when Kira walked over to their group. She had been talking with the other Veltor, but now she came to sit near the humans. "It's funny?" she asked. "We are comparing words from our languages," Janae explained. "Ah, languages," Kira said. "Humans think they are so good with words." "We are good with words," said Bjorn. Taemin speaks 6 different alien languages already. 6. Kira's skin turned purple with surprise. "That is ... impressive." "It is not that hard," Taemin said, feeling embarrassed by the attention. "Not hard." Kira laughed, and her skin went bright silver. "You learn our languages like a child learns to walk. So fast, so easy. You make it look simple." "Languages are just patterns," Taemin said. "Once you understand the pattern, you can learn the words." "Patterns," Kira repeated. "Yes, humans are good at seeing patterns, but can you see all patterns?" "What do you mean?" Kira's skin changed to a darker gold color. Her 4 eyes looked directly at Taemin. "I mean the really hard patterns, the ones that take years to understand." "Try me," Taemin said. He felt confident after weeks of successfully learning Vulture customs and phrases. "Very well." Kira stood up, and her skin began to shift through different colors. Gold, silver, light blue, then back to gold. "You humans think you are so clever with languages. I bet you could not even guess my real name if you had 1,000 years." The room got quiet. Other crew members turned to listen. Even the Korith, who usually kept to themselves, moved closer. "Your real name?" Taemin asked. "My true, complete name. Not the short version one used with other species. My actual name." "That is not fair," said Janae. "You said yourself that Valtor names are impossible for other species to understand." "Exactly," Kira said. "Which is why this would be interesting." Taemin felt something stir inside him. It was not just curiosity. It was the same feeling he got when someone told him something was impossible. He had always been stubborn about challenges. "What happens if I guess it right?" Kira's skin turned bright gold, and she laughed. "You will not guess it right, but if you do," she paused dramatically. "If you can guess my true, complete name, I will marry you according to both our customs." The room went completely silent. Everyone stared at Kira, then at Taemin, then back at Kira. Mary? Taemin's voice cracked a little. It will not happen, Kira said, waving one of her 4 hands. So it is safe to promise. But when you fail, and you will fail, you must admit that human linguistic skills are not as good as you think they are. Bjorn grabbed Taemin's arm. Do not do this, she whispered. She is right. It is impossible. It is just a silly bet, said Janae. Kira is joking. But Taemin was not listening to his friends. He was looking at Kira. Her skin was cycling through colors he had never seen before. Deep gold, bright silver, soft purple. She looked excited and amused and maybe a little nervous. What are the rules? He asked. Taemin. No, Janae said. You get 1 chance, Kira said. You can take as long as you want to figure it out. You can ask questions, do research, whatever you need. But when you are ready to guess, you get 1 try. If you are wrong, the bet ends. And if I am right, you will really marry me. Yes, but you will not be right. Taemin stood up. The whole room was watching him now. He could see aliens from different species whispering to each other. Some looked excited. Others looked worried. He thought about his grandmother's stories of star people with names like music. He thought about how much he had come to care for Kira in just 3 weeks. He thought about the way she laughed and the way her skin changed colors when she was happy. I accept, he said. Kira's skin flashed bright silver, then settled into a steady gold color. You accept? I accept your challenge. The room exploded with noise. Everyone started talking at once. The yaksik made excited chirping sounds. The korith rustled their leaves. The humans started arguing with each other about whether Taemin was brave or crazy. But Taemin only heard Kira's musical laugh above all the noise. This will be fun, she said. I have never seen a human try to understand something truly impossible before. Maybe you will be surprised, Taemin said. Maybe, Kira agreed. But I do not think so. As the crowd slowly went back to their conversations, Jin pulled Taemin aside. Are you insane? She asked. You just agreed to an impossible bet with an alien. It might not be impossible. She said her shortest name has 47 parts. I heard her. And you still think you can figure it out? Taemin looked across the room at Kira. She was talking with the other Valtor now. It's probably telling them about the crazy human who had accepted her challenge. Her skin was still that happy gold color. My grandmother always said that nothing is impossible if you want it badly enough, he said. This is not about wanting something badly enough. This is about alien linguistics that took Kira 30 years to understand. Then I better get started, Taemin said. Jinae stared at him. You are serious about this? Completely serious. Why? It is just a joke bet. Taemin was quiet for a moment. He watched Kira's skin shift through different shades of gold as she talked. He thought about the way she had looked at him when she made the challenge. There had been something in her expression, something he could not quite understand. Maybe it is not just a joke, he said finally. What do you mean? I do not know yet, but I am going to find out. That night, Taemin lay in his small cabin and stared at the ceiling. Outside his window, the stars moved past in their endless dance. Somewhere among those stars was Kira's home world, with its 3 suns and crystal forests. He had accepted an impossible challenge. He had agreed to try to guess a name that even Kira had taken 30 years to fully understand. His friends thought he was crazy. But as he fell asleep, Taemin smiled. For the first time since coming to space, he had a real purpose. He was going to learn everything he could about Velter names, and maybe, just maybe, he was going to surprise everyone. The next morning, Taemin woke up before the ship's artificial sunrise. He had been dreaming about his grandmother again. In the dream, she was sitting in her garden, telling him stories about the star people. Their names are like songs, Taemin, dream grandmother had said. But not songs you hear, songs you feel in your heart. Taman got dressed and went to the ship's library. It was early, so the big room was empty except for the soft humming of computers. He sat down at a terminal and began to search. Computer, show me everything about Velter naming traditions. The screen filled with information. Most of it was basic stuff he already knew. Velter names were complex. They changed over time. They had many parts that meant different things, but there had to be more. Computer, show me the original first contact records from 50 years ago. New files appeared. These were the reports from when humans first met the Velter. Taman read through pages and pages of notes, looking for anything about names. Most of the early reports just said that Velter names were too difficult to understand or impossibly complex. But one report was different. It was written by Dr. Sarah Kim, the first human to spend a whole month with the Velter. Day 23, the report said. I am beginning to think that Velter names are not just words. They seem to be more like ... stories or maps. When Valthara told me her name today, she moved her hands in specific patterns. The colors of her skin changed in rhythm with certain syllables. I think the name includes not just sounds, but also visual and emotional components. Taman felt excited. This was new information. He kept reading. Day 27. Breakthrough Velter, names are not single things. They are collections of smaller name parts. Each part tells something about the person, where they were born, what they knew, have done, who their family is, what they believe. But here is the interesting part. Some name parts can be shared between people who are close. Marriage partners, best friends, mentor and student. They give pieces of their names to each other. Taman sat back in his chair. Name parts could be shared. This was important, but he did not understand why yet. He spent the whole morning reading old reports. By the time other crew members started coming to the library, he had filled 3 pages with notes. Starting early today, asked Woo Jin, the ship's anthropologist. He was also Korean, from Daegu. I'm trying to understand something, Taman said. The Velter name thing. Bjorn told me about your bet. Woo Jin sat down next to him. Oh, you? No, it is impossible, right? Maybe? Maybe not. Taman, I study alien cultures for a living. I have been trying to understand Veltor's social structures for 10 years. Their naming system is the most complex thing I have ever seen. Will you help me? Woo Jin looked surprised. Help you? With what? I need to understand how their society works. If names are connected to relationships and achievements, then I need to know what Kira has done, who she knows, where she comes from. That would take months to figure out. I have time. Woo Jin studied Taman's face. You are really serious about this? Yes. Why? It is just a silly bet between friends. Taman thought about how to answer. He was not even sure himself why this felt so important. Because, ... Because I think there is more to it than that. What do you mean? I do not know yet, but I want to find out. Woo Jin was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. Okay, I will help you. But only because this might be the most interesting research project I have ever worked on. For the next 2 weeks, Taman threw himself into studying everything about Kira and Velter culture. He learned that she came from the northern continent of her world, where the crystal forests grew tallest. He found out that her family were bridge builders, Valtor, who specialized in helping different groups work together. He discovered that Kira had been chosen for this mission because she was one of the youngest Valtor ever to master interspecies communication. She had spent 5 years studying human culture before coming to the ship. But the more he learned, the more confused he became. There were patterns in Velter names, but they were incredibly complex. Each name part connected to dozens of other meanings. Some parts could only be used by certain families. Others changed based on the season or the time of day. "This is impossible," he said to Wu Jin, one evening after another long day of research. "I told you that 2 weeks ago. But there has to be a way." Kira would not make a bet that was completely impossible. Would she? Wu Jin shrugged. Maybe she just wanted to prove a point about human overconfidence. That night, Taemin could not sleep. He walked through the ship's corridors, thinking. He ended up in the observation lounge, staring out at the stars, cannot sleep either. Taemin turned around. Kira was standing in the doorway. Her skin was the soft blue color it turned when she was calm or thoughtful. "I was just thinking," he said, "about my name." She walked over to stand next to him at the window. "Among other things, how is your research going?" "Badly, every time. I think I understand something. I find 10 more things I do not understand." Kira's skin shifted to light gold. That is how learning works. First you realize how much you do not know. Then you start to really learn. They stood together in comfortable silence for a while, watching the stars. "Can I ask you something?" Taemin said. "Of course." "Why did you make that bet?" "Really?" Kira's skin cycled through several colors: gold, silver, pale green, then back to blue. "What do you think?" I think it was not just a joke." "Oh, what else could it be?" "I do not know. That is why I am asking." Kira smiled. "You are learning to ask better questions. That is good, but you are not going to answer them. Some answers you have to find for yourself." She started to leave, but Taemin called after her. "Kira." "Yes." "In all your research about humans, what did you find most interesting? Her skin?" "Turned the bright silver that meant she was happy." "Your stubbornness. When humans decide they want something, they do not give up, even when it seems impossible. Is that good or bad?" "I have not decided yet," she said, and walked away. The next day, Taemin had a new idea. Instead of just reading about Valter culture, he started watching Kira more carefully. He paid attention to how her skin changed colors when she talked about different topics. He noticed the way she moved her hands when she was explaining something important. He saw that her skin turned a very specific shade of gold when she talked about her family. It became silver when she laughed at his jokes. When she mentioned her homeworld, it shifted to pale green with tiny flecks of purple. "You are staring again," Janae said during lunch. "I am observing," Taemin corrected. "It is the same thing, and it is making people nervous." "What people, Kira, for one?" "She asked me yesterday if you were feeling okay." Taemin looked across the cafeteria to where Kira was sitting with the other Velter, as if she felt him watching. She turned and looked at him. Her skin turned light gold, and she waved one of her 4 hands. "She does not seem nervous," he said. Maybe nervous is the wrong word. Maybe curious is better. Curious about what? About what you are really trying to do. That afternoon, while they worked on translating safety procedures, Kira seemed distracted. She kept looking at Taemin when she thought he was not watching. "Is something wrong?" he asked finally. "You have been acting strange lately." "Strange how?" "You ask different questions now. You watch everything I do. You take notes when I talk about my home." Her skin turned purple with concern. "Are you studying me like a science experiment?" "No," Taemin said quickly. "I am just trying to understand." "Understand what?" "You, your culture, the way you think about names and relationships," and he stopped, not sure how to finish. And why you made that bet in the first place." Kira's skin went through a rapid series of color changes: purple, gold, silver, then settled on a shade he had never seen before. It was like gold mixed with green, with tiny sparkles of light. "You really think there was a deeper reason?" asked. "I think you are more complex than you pretend to be. All Velter are complex, not like you." They looked at each other for a long moment. Taman felt something pass between them, some kind of understanding that he could not put into words. "Keep studying," Kira said finally. "Maybe you will figure it out." "Will you help me?" "I am helping you, more than you know." That night, Taman made a breakthrough. He was reading Dr. Kim's reports again when he found something he had missed before. Day 30. Final observation. I believe that the act of learning someone's true name is itself important in Velter culture. It is not just about knowing the name. It is about understanding the person well enough to see all the parts of who they are. In human terms, it would be like falling in love, but deeper, like truly seeing someone's soul. Taman put down the report and stared at the wall. Suddenly, everything started to make sense. The bet was not about guessing a name. It was about something much more important. It was about whether he could truly see and understand Kira. And if he could do that, then maybe, just maybe, she already knew what his answer would be. 2 months had passed since the bet began. Taman had filled 6 notebooks with observations about Kira and Velter culture. His small cabin was covered with papers, charts, and star maps. His friends were worried about him. "You need to sleep more," said Minho, the ship's doctor. He had asked Taman to come to the medical bay for a checkup. "You have lost weight. You have dark circles under your eyes." "I am fine," Taman said. "No, you are not. You are obsessed." Minho looked at his medical scanner. "When did you last have a full night's sleep?" Taman could not remember. 4 weeks, he had been staying up late, reading and taking notes. He would fall asleep at his desk and wake up with papers stuck to his face. "This is not healthy," Minho continued. "What started as a silly bet has become an unhealthy obsession. You do not understand. I am close to figuring it out." "Figuring what out?" "It is impossible to guess her name." "Everyone knows that. It is not about guessing her name anymore." "Then what is it about?" Taman was quiet for a moment. How could he explain that he had fallen in love with an alien? How could he tell Minho that every conversation with Kira made him want to understand her more? How could he say that her laugh made his heart feel light even when his mind was tired? "It is about understanding," he said finally. "Understanding what?" "Her. Everything about her." Minho sighed. "Taman, you cannot learn everything about a person just by studying them like a book. Real understanding comes from spending time together, sharing experiences, talking about feelings. We do talk. About work, about languages, about her planet. But do you talk about what matters? What do you mean? Do you talk about your feelings, about what you want, about why this bet is so important to you?" Taman realized that he did not. Most of his conversations with Kira were about facts and information. He asked her about Valtair customs, about her family, about her home world. But he never asked how she felt about being far from home, or if she was happy on the ship, or what she thought about humans. "Maybe you should try a different approach." Minho suggested. That evening, Taman made a decision. Instead of going to the library to read more reports, he went to the garden section. It was one of Kira's favorite places on the ship. She often came there in the evenings to sit by the artificial pond. She was there when he arrived, sitting on a bench and watching the small fish swim in circles. Her skin was the soft blue color that meant she was peaceful or sad. "Mind if I sit?" he asked. "Of course not." She moved over to make room for him. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. The garden was quiet, except for the sound of water moving and the soft hum of the ship's engines. "You have been avoiding me?" Kira said suddenly. "What? No, I have not. For 2 weeks you have barely talked to me except about work. You spend all your time in the library or with Wu Jin." Taman realized she was right. He had been so focused on research that he had stopped having normal conversations with her. "I have been busy," he said. "Busy trying to guess my name?" "Yes, How's that going? Badly? He laughed, but it was not a happy sound. I thought I was. Closed several times, but then I would find something new that changed everything. Such as, like the fact that some name parts change based on relationships, or that birth names include the positions of stars that might not have been mapped by humans, or that some parts are not even words, they are feelings or memories. Kira's skin shifted to light gold. You have learned a lot. I have learned enough to know that I do not understand anything. That is the beginning of wisdom. They were quiet again. Taman watched the fish and thought about all the hours he had spent reading about Velter culture. He had learned so much, but he felt like he was missing something important. Can I ask you something personal? He said. You can ask. I might. Not answer? Do you miss your home? Kira's skin changed to a soft green with tiny flecks of silver. Every day. What do you miss most? The sound of wind in the crystal forests. The way the three suns make everything sparkle at dawn. My family's singing voices. She paused. My grandmother's cooking. Your grandmother? She raised me after my parents died in an accident. She taught me about names and songs and how to read the patterns in people's faces. Taman stared at her. My grandmother raised me too. After my parents died, I know. You told me, but I did not know the same thing happened to you. There are many things you do not know about me. Like, what? Kira turned to look at him. Her skin was cycling through colors now. Green, gold, silver, then back to green. Like the fact that I volunteered for this mission because I wanted to understand humans better. Why? Because when we first met your species 50 years ago, I was a child. I heard the stories about humans who never gave up, who could learn any language, who treated other species as equals instead of servants or masters. I wanted to see if the stories were true. And are they true? Some of them. Her skin turned bright silver, the color of happiness. Humans are very stubborn. And you do learn languages quickly. And most of you are kind to aliens. But, you are also very strange. You complain about everything, but you never stop trying to make things better. You are afraid of things that are not dangerous, but you are brave about things that should terrify you. You fall in love with people you barely know. Taman felt his face get hot. What do you mean by that last part? Nothing specific, Kira said. But her skin was still silver with amusement. Kira, ... Yes. Why did you really make that bet? Her skin went through a rapid series of changes. Silver, gold, purple, then a color he had never seen before. It was like gold mixed with deep blue, with sparkles of white light. You have been studying me for 2 months, she said. What do you think? I think it was not about proving that humans are bad at languages. No, it was not about that. I think it was about something else. Something more personal. What do you think it was about? Taman took a deep breath. I think it was about whether I could truly see you. Not just learn facts about your culture, but really understand who you are as a person. Kira's skin settled into that strange golden blue color with white sparkles. And I think you already knew what the answer would be. Did I? Yes, because you have been studying humans for years. You know how we are. When we care about someone, we do not give up. We keep trying until we understand. And do you care about me? Taman's heart was beating so fast, he was sure she could hear it. Yes. How much? Enough that I would spend forever trying to understand your name just to be close to you. Kira was quiet for a long moment. Her skin continued to sparkle with that beautiful color he had never seen before. There is something else you should know, she said finally. What? In Velter culture, when someone accepts a name challenge, it is not just a game. What do you mean? It means they are willing to truly know the other person. to see all their parts, good and bad, happy and sad, strong and weak, like a marriage proposal. Not exactly like a human marriage proposal, but similar. Taman felt the world shift around him. You mean when I accepted your bet, ... You accepted an invitation to court me? In my culture, that is what it means. And you knew I did not understand that? I hoped you would figure it out. So all this time, we have been getting to know each other, like Valter couples do before they decide to share names. Taman stared at her. Everything suddenly made sense. The way she had looked at him when she made the bet. The way she had been dropping hints about her life and culture. The way her skin had been changing to new colors around him. How long have you been waiting for me to figure this out? He asked. 2 months, 3 weeks, and 4 days, she said. But who is counting? And if I had never figured it out? Then, I would have known that humans are not as smart as they think they are. And now I think humans are exactly as smart as they need to be. Taman laughed. So, do you want to hear my guess? Are you ready to make it? I think so. Then tomorrow night, in front of the crew, you can tell me my name. Tomorrow night? Yes, it is time. As they walked back through the ship together, Taman felt nervous and excited and terrified all at once. Tomorrow night, he would either succeed in the impossible task, or he would fail in front of everyone. But now he understood that it was not really about success or failure. It was about showing Kira that he had learned to truly see her, and he had. The next evening, word spread quickly through the ship. Tonight, Taman would make his guess about Kira's real name. Everyone wanted to watch. The main assembly hall was packed. Crew members from all 12 species found seats or standing spots. The room buzzed with excitement and nervous energy. Some aliens were making bets about whether Taman would succeed. Most thought he would fail. Tae-Min stood in his small cabin, looking at himself in the mirror. His hands were shaking. K's mouth was dry. In 30 minutes, he would either win the impossible bet or lose it in front of everyone he knew. A knock came at his door. Come in, he called. Dutchin and Borum entered, both looking worried. Are you ready for this? Schnee asked. Taman said honestly. You can still back out, Borum suggested. Just say it was a joke that went too far. I cannot do that. Why not? No one would blame you. Everyone knows it is impossible. Taman thought about his conversation with Kira the night before. About how she had been waiting for him to understand what the bet really meant. About how accepting her challenge had been accepting her invitation to truly know her. Because it is not about winning or losing anymore, he said. Then what is it about? Jinne asked. It is about showing someone that you understand them. You see who they really are. His friends looked confused, but they did not ask more questions. They wished him luck and left for the assembly hall. Tae-Min took one last look at his notes. 6 notebooks full of information about Valter culture. Star charts showing Kira's home system. Family trees of bridge builder clans. Lists of naming. Conventions and ceremonial traditions. But none of that was what he needed tonight. Tonight, he needed to speak from his heart. The assembly hall was completely quiet when Taman walked in. Every eye was on him as he made his way to the front of the room. Captain Sung-woo sat in the front row, looking serious. Woo Jin gave him an encouraging nod. Minho looked worried. At the center of the room stood Kira. She was wearing traditional altar robes that Taman had never seen before. They were white with silver threads that caught the light. Her skin was a color he had never seen either. Pale gold with deep blue undertones, like sunrise reflecting on ocean water. Are you ready? Captain Sung-woo asked. Yes, Taman said, though his voice came out as a whisper. Speak louder, called someone from the back. Yes, Taman said again, more firmly. Kira looked at him with her 4 large eyes. Her skin was cycling slowly through different shades of gold and blue. She looked nervous too, which somehow made Tommen feel better. "I am ready to hear your guess," she said. Her musical voice carried clearly through the quiet room. Tae-Min took a deep breath. He had planned to start by stating her name directly, the way humans usually did things. But standing there, looking at her, he realized that was wrong. This was not about human customs. This was about Velter traditions. "I cannot tell you your name," he said. Murmurs of confusion spread through the room. Some people started to whisper. Had he given up? Was he admitting defeat? "I cannot tell you your name," Taemin continued, "because names are not things you tell. They are things you sing. They are stories you share. They are the music of who someone is." Kira's skin brightened to pure gold. "So instead of telling you your name, I want to tell you your story. I want to share what I have learned about who you are." The room was completely silent now. Even the ship's engines seemed quieter. Tae-Min began to speak, his voice getting stronger. With each word, "Your story begins under 3 suns on a world where forests are made of crystal and oceans sing in the wind. You were born during the festival of new bridges when the 3 suns align and cast no shadows anywhere on your planet." Kira's skin began to shimmer with tiny points of light, like stars. "Your family name carries the meaning of those who connect. Distant shores. For 12 generations, your ancestors have been bridge builders, helping different groups find common ground. Your grandmother taught you the old songs and the art of reading faces. She sang you to sleep with lullabies about names that grow like living things." The lights in Kira's skin grew brighter. "When you were young, you heard stories about humans. The stubborn species that never gave up, that learned languages like children learn to walk. You were curious about these beings who treated aliens as equals instead of servants. So you spent 5 years studying human culture, preparing for this mission." Taemin paused and looked directly into Kira's eyes. "Your work name speaks of your skill with languages and your talent for helping different species understand each other. Your family name tells of crystal forests and singing oceans and grandmothers who teach patience. Your achievement name marks you as the youngest Valtor ever to master interspecies communication. But there are newer parts to your name now. Parts that have grown during our time together on this ship." Kira's skin was now glowing so brightly that some crew members had to shield their eyes. "There is a part that speaks of friendship with a stubborn human who asks too many questions. A part that tells of evening walks in artificial gardens, talking about rain and 3 sunrises. A part that marks you as teacher to someone who wanted to learn the impossible." Taemin's voice became softer, more personal. "And there is a part, the newest part, that speaks of patience with someone who took 2 months to understand what you were really asking. A part that tells of waiting for someone to realize that learning your name was never about guessing sounds, but about seeing your soul." Tears were streaming down Kira's face now. The room was so quiet that everyone could hear her soft breathing. "Your name speaks of hope," Taemin continued. "Hope that 2 very different beings could understand each other across the vast distances between worlds. Hope that love could grow between species that evolved under different stars." He took a step closer to her. "Your name tells of courage. The courage to make a bet that was really an invitation. The courage to wait while someone learned to truly see you. The courage to love someone who might not love you back." Another step closer, "And your name speaks of trust. Trust that humans really are as stubborn as the stories say. Trust that when we care about someone, we will keep trying until we understand. Trust that love is the same in every language, under every sun. In every heart." Taemin was now standing directly in front of Kira. Her skin was so bright, it looked like she was made of liquid starlight. I cannot pronounce all 47 parts of your true name, he said quietly. My human voice cannot make some of the sounds. My human mind cannot hold all the connections and meanings. But I can tell you this. Your name is the most beautiful song I have ever heard. It is the story of someone who builds bridges between worlds. Someone who teaches patience and hope and trust. Someone who waited for a stubborn human to learn that the best way to know a person is not to study them like a book, but to love them like family. Your name, he said, his voice barely a whisper, is the song of someone I want to spend my life learning to sing. Kira was glowing so brightly now that she looked like a small sun. When she spoke, her voice was thick with tears. You did not guess my name, she said. Taemin's heart sank. Had he failed after all? You did something much better, Kira continued. You learned to hear my song. You learned to see my story. You learned to understand my heart. She reached out with all 4 of her hands and took his 2 hands in hers. In Velter culture, when someone truly knows your song, they do not need to speak your name. They become part of it. What does that mean? It means, yes, Taemin Park. Yes, I will marry you. The room exploded with noise. Crew members from 12 different species cheered and clapped and made the happy sounds of their peoples. The yaksik chirped like excited birds. The korath rustled their leaves in rhythm. Even the usually serious Captain Sungwoo was smiling. But Taemin only heard Kira's musical laugh as she pulled him close and whispered in his ear, "Welcome to my song, husband. Now we get to write the rest of it together." 6 months later, Taemin and Kira were married in a ceremony that combined traditions from both their worlds. Captain Sungwoo performed the human parts of the wedding. Kira's family joined by hologram from her Crystal Forest home to sing the Velter wedding songs. The ceremony was attended by crew members from all 12 species aboard the Harmony. It was broadcast across the galaxy, inspiring new programs for interspecies cooperation and understanding. During the reception, Taemin's grandmother Hajin appeared on a video call from Earth. She was 91 now, but her eyes were bright with joy. "I always knew you would marry one of the star people," she told Taemin. "Your names fit together like puzzle pieces." "How did you know that, grandmother?" "Kuz," she said with a smile. "The best songs are always sung as duets." As the celebration continued around them, Taemin and Kira stood together at the observation windows, watching the stars. Kira's skin glowed with the soft gold of perfect happiness. Her new wedding bracelets chimed gently as she moved. "Do you ever regret accepting my impossible challenge?" she asked. "Never," Taemin said. "Though I have to ask, what would you have done if I had failed?" "Failed," Kira laughed. "Husband, there was never any chance of failure." "Why not?" "Because humans never give up when they love someone. And I could see in your eyes that first night that you were already falling in love. With me. Was I that obvious? To a Valter who knows how to read faces? Yes, so you knew I would succeed. I knew you would learn to sing my song," she said, "because that is what humans do. When you love someone, you learn their language, their customs, their dreams. You learn to see them the way they want to be seen. And that is why you fell in love with me." "No," Kira said, her skin shifting to the sparkling golden blue color that was uniquely hers. "I fell in love with you because you asked me about my grandmother's cooking, because you told me stories about rain, because you never once tried to make me more human. You just tried to understand me as I was. That seems simple. The best things usually are." As their ship continued its journey through the stars, carrying its crew of bridge builders and dream weavers and song singers, Taemin realized that his grandmother had been right about everything. The star people did come to Earth. They did teach humans wonderful things. But the most wonderful thing they taught was this, that love really is the same in every language, under every sun, in every heart that is brave enough to sing.